Paquito Navarro and Lucas Bergamini will play together in 2025. Paquito has decided to end the project with Pablo Cardona and return to a more defensive player. Lucas was without a partner due to Garrido's decision to team up with Dineno, and suddenly he faces the biggest challenge of his career. But what does the Paquito Bergamini duo excel at? What are their weaknesses? Hello all players, I'm Pablo and I welcome you to a new Forset. The one to blame for this new partnership is Paquito Navarro, so first let's understand how Paquito got to this point in the story. And to understand that, we need to go back to the beginning of 2023. There, Paquito decided to end his experiment on the right with Tello and decided to team up with Chingoto to return to his essence, playing on the left. Together, Paquito and Chingoto became one of the best pairs in the world, reaching 5 finals but losing all of them to Coello and Tapia. The difference in level, but mainly in playing styles and effectiveness, made Paquito rethink his future with Chingoto. So he made the decision to end the project with the Ratón of Olavarría, explain it like this.
Chingo es un fenómeno y creo que tanto él como yo necesitamos un compañero que nos defina un poco más. Es decir, yo creo que Chingo necesita un compi de revés que le cubra un poquito más por arriba, y yo necesito un compi de derecha que me ayude un poquito también a definir puntos. Es decir, somos muy competitivos, tenemos creo que una gran defensa, somos rocosos, hemos sido sólidos, hemos sido una pareja más o menos fiable este año, pero creo que si queríamos dar un saltito más, ambos debíamos jugar con un compañero un poquito más picante al lado.
However, Paquito hadn't said his last word, because Paquito and Chingoto will say goodbye at the World Padel Tour Master Final, where they managed to beat Coello Tapia for the first time in the semifinals and did the same against Galán and Lebron in the Grand Final. This way, Paquito managed to keep his streak of winning at least one title per season since 2014. And after Chingoto, his new adventure was with Sancho Gutierrez, but it wasn't really a new adventure, because they have already set the record in 2016 and 2017 and wanted to recover that version, but the project didn't last long. The call from Lebron, who was without a partner after Galán decided to break their partnership, made him end the project with Sancho. So, Paquito Lebron reunited 4 years after being #1 together with the mission of reclaiming that position to Coello and Tapia, but this time it didn't work out. The performance wasn't bad, but tensions on and off the court were a problem. Finally, Lebron decided to end the partnership, and there, Paco bet on a completely different type of player, Pablo Cardona. If the reason for separating from Chingoto was a lack of winners, Cardona could provide that to Paco. But don't forget that Pablo was only 20 years old and had never reached a final, so was he ready for the challenge of playing with Paquito? It is true that there have been several success stories of such ventures in the past, like Bela Coello or Bela Tapia, but here it didn't end the same way, because they only reached the semi-final twice as the best results, and that was not enough for Paco. And from my point of view, Pablo's level in crucial matches against the best players in the world is still far, and Paco was not willing to wait any longer. And so we come to the call for Lucas Bergamini, but how did Lucas get to this point in the story? Well, Lucas' case is even more curious because he came from being the longest standing partnership in Premier Padel until he split with Victor Ruiz mid-season. With Victor, he played for over 2 years, managed to rank within the top 8 and played in the Milan P1 final, which they lost to Lebron and Galán. It is true that in 2024 the results with Victor didn't come, leading to the end of their project, so Lucas teamed up with Juan Luis Bri. With Juanlu in their first tournament together in Madrid, they eliminated Estupiñán in the quarterfinals and reached the semis, where they lost to Chingalán. He would play one more tournament with Juan Luis Bri before Lucas got the call from Garrido. It couldn't have been an easy decision because the level with Juan Lu was very good and Garrido wasn't in a good moment. Remember that Javi was injured on his foot and he was feeling bad, but there Lucas' trust appeared. At Javi's worst moment, the union with Lucas was the best news, and the Berg-Garrido partnership started with one goal: to get Lucas qualified for the finals. They reached the final in Egypt, which they lost to Stupan Yanguas, and managed in Milan by beating Bela Lee back for Lucas to play his first finals. But with that goal achieved, Javi decided to team up with Dineno, ending the Bergarrido project. So let's welcome to Berga-Quito duo. Subscribe if you want to see them together already. So let's continue with their strengths and weaknesses, because in this duo everything is mixed. But first of all, they have complementary playing styles. Remember that Paquito was one match away from being number 1 with Dineno, was consecutively ranked number 2 with Sanjo for 2 years, and was in many finals with Chingoto. The common thread here is Paco teaming up with a defensive player who works a lot on the court. However, this strength has its downside, because this is what Paquito himself complained about, which led him to decide to leave Chingoto. It is true that the experiment with Cardona didn't work out, so why not go back to what is safe? It is true that with this combo of styles, I see it difficult for Paco and Bergamini to fight for the number 1 ranking against Goya and Tapia. For that, in my view, more offensive player needed, which was precisely what Paco bet on with Cardona. But honestly, I don't know about you, but we have to trust Paco always. Well, another interesting point about this partnership is the experience. Paco is now 35 and Berga 27, so both have a lot of ambition but are mature enough to manage it well. In fact, Bergamini's performance is at the highest of his career despite being 27. He qualified for his first finals, reached a final in Egypt and semi-finals in Madrid and Bordeaux. His playing style is very similar to Chingoto's, but be careful because Berga is 5 cm shorter, standing at 1.65 meters. And I do believe the personalities of both will mix perfectly, and Berga is one of those players capable of handling Paco on the court. Remember that Dineno and Chingoto manage it, and Bergamini in that aspect is the same. I will even say that Bergamini is close to being the biggest social media star, joking about the moment he's seen drinking from the Balkan during matches, and he did it again this Christmas. With a level of paddle that improves each tournament, Lucas is set to repeat the mission he accomplished with Javi, that is bringing out the best version of Paquito. But it is true that the mission has increased in level because playing with Paquito is not the same as playing with Garrido. Lucas has never won a Premier Padel title and never played with a player ranked as high as Paco. Obviously, Paquito will demand results, and as we have seen with Cardona, he needs more than quarterfinals. But if Lucas managed to bring out the best in Javi Garrido, Paquito now has another mission: to help Lucas win his first title. And that is something Paquito has already done with Lebron, Dineno and Chingoto, but he failed with Cardona. Obviously, they will lack with winners, so Paquito needs to return to that aggressive version if he wants points to last less than a minute each. So, Pablo, what results will Paquito and Bergamini have? Well, they will be outside the top 4 in the rankings, so in the quarterfinals they could face Cuello Tapia, for example. In my opinion right now, I see them far from competing for the top 3 spots in the ranking, but I have to admit, I trust them. I trust in the return of the best Paquito and believe Bergamino's ceiling is still high. No one bet on Paquito when he teamed up with a Dineno who have never reached a final. So why can't history repeat itself? We will see what happens in 2025, but I think Paquito and Lucas will win a title. But what do you think? Do you trust Berga-Quito? Thank you so much for watching the video. Don't forget to subscribe and see you in the next one. Ciao!